So in this lesson, we're going to continue finalizing the image, and we're going to really punch up our highlights and shadows. What we're going to do with this is really going to add more life to your character and really bring it to life. So let's jump into this lesson and see how we can go ahead and execute that. This is like the final pass of light. So I'm really pushing the highlight here from my key light at the top left. Just adding highlights everywhere. So with this, I'm brushing in the levels and color balance adjustment and just touching up all those areas that I've already planned out. I decided on this gauntlet that it was going to catch that little corner, was going to catch a little bit of that light. So this is a nice way, again, using adjustment layers to add light. Instead of going in and changing the colors for each element, you know, some of them are warmer than other areas, but it's okay. I wanted to warm up that side too, that side of the cheek. Just filling in. I'm also kind of cleaning up some areas. I'm really pushing those whites from his face, from the fur. So this is going to be like the lightest areas. This works so well when you just like layer upon layer, just keep building up on that fur. That's what starts to really make it feel thick. I think I wanted to add my little specular highlight here on the nose, just to give it that kind of roundness and make it really feel dimensional. And then here on the eyes as well. I barely touched the eyes at all throughout the entire image. There's warmer highlights on the left eye and then slightly cooler highlights here on the right eye. You can really start to see now that he's looking over at that little bug there to his left. I'm painting over top of the adjustment layer. Even though this is black fur, I think if the light is bright enough, it'll still show on the darker fur. So it feels balanced with the white fur. Now that everything's flattened, I'm kind of creating that fur along the edge of the backpack because everything's all on one layer. And I knew I was going to kind of push that here at the very end. With the smudge tool, I created that fur effect. That was nice as one of the stages, but I knew even doing that I wanted to come in and brush in, like manually brush in some of the heavier and thicker strands of hair of the fur, like this here. The soft brush is still giving me what I want. I could have potentially used the hard edge brush or the rough edge brush, but I think this one's working just fine, so. Bringing down the opacity, felt like they were just a little too strong, and then just flattening the whole thing once again. Now I'm going to add some shadow just to ground him. There's not going to be an environment like a full-blown background, but just something to ground him to make it seem like he's in some sort of a dimensional space. So here with these shadows, remember they get a little softer and a little bit lighter as they get away from the object. And then right underneath it gets real dark, and then just kind of soften that out. And then I wanted to paint a shadow over this bubble. As I paint over and refine, I just keep flattening, and then now just wanted to create this background sort of horizon line. Even if it's just more of a studio kind of setup, really creates like just a little space for him to live in. Just a simple shadow underneath the character, and then simple colors in the background. This is a cool light here, but up against this warm color, it looks blue. And so now just kind of finessing things a little bit, softening some edges, creating little shadows. I wanted to give this little bubble a little shadow, drop shadow. And that's looking pretty good. So in the next video, we're going to continue to polish the image. So now that we've punched up our highlights and shadows, you can really start to see how lighting is really starting to create a mood in your scene and in your character. Now in the next lesson, we're going to talk about how to get your image ready to export and get it ready, whether it's for print, digital, and things like that. So we'll share those options in the next lesson.